everybody. It's Nicole Bonner and my dear colleague, Dr. Colton O'Brien. Colton, does it still feel weird to be called doctor?
It's getting more normal. I'm getting used to it now. But definitely it was a imposter syndrome to begin with, but starting to step into it. So it feels good.
Nice, nice. The more you hear, eventually you're going to get to the point where you're like, oh my God, if I hear doctor one more time.
Well, it's helped going to all the community events that I'm at. I always introduce myself as Dr. O'Brien, so all the people that I'm new to call me that now. So all my buddies, it'd be weird if my buddies called me that, but or
Yeah.
family.
Or family, right? I know. And you are doing a ton of community events. And so I want to really jump right in. First of all, I want to welcome everybody to watching our podcast today, and really following your journey of going through chiropractic school. And you know what I realized, Colton? You went through chiropractic school. You started the process of learning how to build and open a practice about 3 months prior to graduation, and then you actually opened a practice three months after graduation. Does that sound about right? So
Mm-hmm.
like it took you a total of like 6 months to learn how to build and implement and grow this practice. And on Monday, you had your opening day, your one day one of the rest of your life, the rest of your practice life, at
That's
least.
right. That's right.
So today, I mean, this is like basically the day that our audience over the last 6 months has been waiting for. So today, that's really when I want to spend, if it's okay with you, I want to spend most of our time talking about like how you did it, what led up to opening day, what were you feeling? And then we definitely want to know all about your day one. So
Okay.
why don't you jump in and just tell me how your day went.
Okay. Yeah, we'll start with just how the day went. So yeah, it was a Monday, and the schedule had been pretty full for like a week. So I knew Monday was going to be a big day. The
Wait, can I
day
ask you a
before,
question?
Yeah.
Wait, because I've been wondering this. So when you say you had a full schedule on Monday, you obviously you only saw pretty much new patients all day, right? Because that's your first day.
Well, yes, kind of, and that's the funny part. I had some people that I was seeing prior in the student clinic come through, did a quick exam, and then got them adjusted. But everyone, all the new patients, yeah, were pretty stacked that day. So I saw like 5 people that I had been seeing in the past, and then a few family members, and then I had 4 new patients yesterday, and one canceled, but that's okay. We're getting rescheduled. We're getting them back on the schedule.
Awesome. Yeah, we in our office we don't use the word cancel. It's like a dirty word in our office. It's always reschedule.
That's right. I love that. That's a good reframe.
Awesome. So, okay, so you processed 3 brand new patients yesterday, is that right?
4.
You processed 4. Got it.
Yes.
And you rescheduled 1.
Yes, rescheduled 1. In the process of rescheduling 1.
That's pretty good. I would say that there's a lot of people in practice that have been in practice 20 or 30 years that don't see 5 new patients in a day. I'm proud of you. All right, so go ahead. Tell me about the rest of your day. What else happened?
Oh, it was cool. I mean, I started the day with a new patient, and it was awesome. It was just kind of like what we had been practicing on. I saw the value in the pre-consult that we've been working on, just like taking a moment to really educate people on chiropractic and what we do in this office. And I think they really appreciated it, not just sitting down and like, hey, what's going on? Like, what's your problem? But rather getting an opportunity to walk in, learn about the office, learn about me, learn about what we're looking for exactly, get educated on what a subluxation is, why it's important, why I base everything I do around finding subluxation and correcting it, and then sitting down, having a conversation and getting to know them and their goals, and areas that we can help them, Then we get them on the table. I did my like a few to just building some value and also just kind of getting to understand where their body's at. A few ortho and neuros, and then chiropractic analysis, and then out the door. Get them scheduled out the door. So
Awesome. So wait, so Colton, first of all, when you woke up on Monday morning, how did you feel in your body?
excited, excited
Yeah.
a little bit. That helped those like healthy nerves, like that anticipation, like pregame jitters. But excited. It was funny. I was telling people, I was like, I don't feel different. I feel the same. It's really cool to see. Like I don't put my value and who I am or how I perform as a chiropractor, but like I've been here in my mind for so long. Like I've seen this day. I've experienced what this day was going to feel like for a long time. And so I just went in there and I was just Colton. And I know people buy chiropractic because chiropractic is so powerful, but people also buy the love and your intention and how much you really want to get people better. And that's our full intention in this office. So I just led from the heart and just did my thing and had open, honest communication.
Yeah. So I want to go back to this is for our audience, especially students or new grads that are watching this. I want to go back to what you said. One of the key things, guys, if you guys can get this, write this down. If you're watching this podcast, write this down. What Colton just said was absolute gold. And he said, he's like this wasn't the first time I had my first day opening. Basically, this is what he's saying. I'm paraphrasing him. Wasn't the first time. I replayed this day over and over and over and over in my mind. And so one of the things that I'm trying to teach students, Colton, is the power of creative visualization.
Hmm.
And being able to get clarity on who you are, what you want, who you want to become, what you want your life to look like, what you want your practice to look like, who your avatar is, and getting clarity so that it's so crystal clear in your mind's eye. You can paint a picture of exactly what this day is going to look like. You actually see people moving in and moving out. Is that what you're referring to? Did you do that? Did you visualize that leading up to your opening day?
Well, yeah, since I was early on in chiropractic school, and the vision and like what I pictured in my mind has changed throughout the course, but there's a few key components that rang true, and those were mainly like, what's the office going to feel like? What am I going to feel like in the office? And then everything else is just kind of external. The rest is, I just show up. So yeah, definitely been playing with that since early in chiropractic school. And I know a lot of seminars teach that, and that's where I first learned how to do it. And so I couldn't recommend enough, like get in that feeling state, that thinking state, that feeling state of what it's going to be like, what it's going to feel like when you open those doors and you just get to just be you.
Yeah. And that was, shoot, man, Jim Parker, and we talk about Jim Parker a lot on our podcast, like because both you and I graduated from Parker. But one of the things that we learned in Parker is to act as if, Jim Parker would say, act as if you already have it, act as if you're already in that spot, act as if you've already, achieved your goals. What would you feel like? What would it look like? And that was a big tool that you used. And, you had a lot of discipline. That's one of the things I admire most about you, is that you have a lot of discipline and you are willing and have been willing to do the things that sometimes you don't necessarily want to do, or it feels uncomfortable for you, or you're definitely willing to do the things that others are not willing to do. And that is what separates the girls from the women and the boys from the men, is that, successful people do the things that other people are just not willing to do. And that discipline of visualization and focusing and meditating on your vision was something that you did. And we were talking about the Parker principles, where Jim Parker would say, act as if. And I think, I've heard over the years him kind of get a lot of slack for that, because people would say, oh, that's not authentic, or, like that's not authentic, um, or that's being fake. And really,
Mm-hmm.
that's not what he meant at all. Really, what he meant is, by act as if, is to feel in your body what it would feel like if you already had it. And that's just a universal principle, because once you start believing that it's already yours, that's when God opens the doors to just really miraculous things. And I feel like that's what you've experienced, because over the last few weeks, and I want to talk about this, I want you to share, but over the last few weeks, um, you've done a lot of marketing and PR. Like, you have gone out into your community, you've built relationships, you built relationships with other businesses, you've joined groups, clubs, organizations, you went to speak to them, and you have also done a number of spinal screenings over the last few weeks. Now, tell us about that. Like, from my perspective, from my mind's eye, it seemed like those doors just opened for you and things just came naturally. Is that how you felt, or what was that like for you?
Yeah. So it didn't just come naturally, and doors didn't just open for me. I knew I was opening at the beginning of March, and then at the end of January, I was like, okay, like I can sit here and do all this pretend prep work, just pretend like I convince myself that no, I got too much to do to go out in the community. But like the simple answer was nothing was more valuable than starting to get my name, my face, and my brand out there. And I was like, oh gosh, like here we go. Like I'm nervous. I'm a pretty shy person, and a lot of people don't expect that of me because like I put myself into uncomfortable situations, but deep down that little voice inside of me is like, stay in bed, stay inside, like keep to yourself until I get to know you. Then I really open up. But yeah, so I just started. First, I just started going to a coffee shop in the area that I was in, and just like saying hello to people and just being friendly. I wasn't trying to sell or say I have a chiropractic office or anything like that. Just getting in the community first, like getting planted. And then I was like, okay, what's the next step? And I joined a BNI, or I visited a BNI, and you can visit as many as you want. And I just stood up and started giving my commercial. And, it was probably, neurology word vomit at the beginning, to be honest, stuff that people didn't understand or probably didn't even want to hear. And then now I'm really refining it, but I wouldn't be able to refine it had I not gone so early. Now I'm just speaking from the heart, which is really cool, and just trying to relay information. And that's where quite a few of my new patients came from, is BNI. And then I also did some screenings. And another thing I absolutely did not want to do, like I would rather it was my first one was a freezing Saturday morning at 6 a.m. at a half marathon. And one, I was shy and nervous, didn't want to talk to people, and I wanted to stay in bed. But, we just got up, we got out there, and we spread the good word of chiropractic, and really didn't have especially like at the beginning right now, like I'm taking everything on as a learner, and I don't really have a huge attachment to the outcome. I'm just going out there with my purest intention, and whatever happens, happens. Ideally, you want to get as many people in the door as you can, because that's lives you're changing. But right now I'm taking it all as a big experiment and just putting myself out there and letting God do the rest. And then I also joined the chamber, and anytime someone in the beginning of the month, anytime someone would ask me to do a one-on-one or like go get coffee, and likely they're trying to sell me on their business or what they have to offer, I'd just say yeah, because it's an opportunity. One, probably get a good coffee out of the deal and a good conversation, but you get to share a little bit about chiropractic. So I just took every opportunity I could just to be in community.
Yeah, that's awesome. That just reminded me of something I heard Haley Jules say today. I was on one of her, by the way, you should hop on these calls. And this is a little plug for Inspired Practice Solutions, run by my good friend Haley Jules, who, in my opinion, has got it going on when we talk about teams and the importance of a team. And anyway, she does free monthly Zoom calls for anybody that wants to hop on to learn how to handle certain situations, and then eventually to how to train your team on how to handle them. But long story short, my team and I hopped on today, and one of the things that she said is that on a psychology level, it takes a person 8 times. They have to hear something 8 times before they move on it, or before they grasp it to understand it in order to be able to move on it. So that means that at least you have to plant the seeds of chiropractic in one person's mind at least 8 times before they actually make a move to see a chiropractor.
Wow.
So that kind of just reminded me a little bit about what you said, and that, like, you're meeting these people and you're building relationships in the community. And, the worst case scenario is that you're having a great cup of coffee with a great human being, building a relationship, and they get to hear the story of chiropractic, because that story might be one of their 8.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that's amazing to hear, and really puts it in perspective. I mean, keep knocking. I think that's what I get from that, and don't be discouraged whenever, you sell chiropractic, or you just pour chiropractic out from your heart and people don't instantly jump on it. Like, that was like, it's in our chiropractic mind. It's like, how do you not get it? How do you not understand? Just come in. It's going to change your life. But I guess just continue to put in the consistent effort, and it'll come. And, I'm excited to continue to get people in the door. I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking about today. I was like, well, I have these people and I'm so grateful for them. It's like, okay, but I got to keep on pushing and get more people so more lives can change.
Yeah, of course, for sure. Well, let me ask you this. So now you processed 4 new patients yesterday. Did you have them come back today for their day 2? Did you see any yet for day 2?
No, I had, I actually saw one person last week, kind of like a tester, but I mean, it's a friend, but they're starting care. So, but today I had all new patients this morning also. So, I had 2 more, new patients today. So far we're at 6 total new patients for the day 1, day 2. And then I had that person last week come in for their, report of findings, first adjustment, and, care plan and everything. So I sold my first care plan right before this call. So that was really cool. So we have 1 person on a plan, and we have 6 people who are going to be on a plan. They have theirs later this week, but I also have quite a few more new patients to process this week as well.
That's phenomenal.
I think 8 or 9, I think, is what's on the schedule for this week.
Nice. Dude, I hope that there are people that are gleaning so much value from this time that you and I volunteer to put this podcast together, where the lighting is bad and my background's all crazy, but the point is that, like, hopefully you guys are gleaning value from this, and we want to encourage you and inspire you that this is it. Like, this is real life. There are people, like, you can go out on your day 1, start processing new patients on day 1, and start collecting money on care plans on day 2. Colton, can I put you on the spot for a little bit? And you don't have to answer this if you don't feel comfortable with it. But
okay.
just to give like a student, for example, like an idea of, you've been in practice 1.5 days, right? And you put somebody on a care plan. Wait, let me go back and ask you this, because we did care plans a little bit in the Jumpstart program, but we have a lot more work to do on care plans in the accelerated program. Like, in other words, like how to continue to put them together, how to present them, what options to give patients, and things like that. Do you give patients an option? Like, do you do like a monthly option, or do you do a prepay option, or how did you set up your care plans?
Okay, I'll show you right here. So I base almost. So I have my scanning equipment right here, and then I also have HRV. So I do thermal scans, and I also do SEMG scans, which are thermal scans. Your classic chiropractic thermal scan tells you how deep the subluxation is rooted. SEMG, which measures postural energy, how hard your nervous system is working to keep you up in space. And then heart rate variability, which is like your readiness, adaptability. So I base a lot of my care plan off that, and then also what we find in the physical exam and posture. But anyway, my visits, the information's on here, so I'm not going to share it with the screen. But so pretty much I have a number of visits at this much, and then it brings a number of visits at $65 an adjustment, and then it brings a value and then $75 each scan you receive, and you receive 3 scans during care. Then it has a grand total, and so it's a big, large number. Not, depending on your perspective, I guess it's a number. And then if you don't really have a choice, but the care plan is, when you do, I discount it 10% for the care plan. So they see that discount. And then they have two options. They can either pay full value, which is 15% off that discounted care plan, or they can do 3 monthly installments without a discounted rate. And then so they just have one or two options. Do you pay up front, or do you do the monthly installments? And so that's what it was. But yeah, that was my first care plan presentation. It was a little choppy, but just like anything, I think it's going to get better as we go along.
And so what option did your first person pick? Did they pick the prepay or monthlies?
Monthlies.
They did the monthlies? Good. I like monthlies. Personally, I like monthlies. A, you're making more money on it. And number 2, like, your monthlies are what's setting up a nice foundation of money that runs automatically, every day. Like, eventually it's going to catch up, where every day when you wake up, you're going to have money in your bank account that comes through because of all your monthly payments.
Cool.
Yeah. So the way I like to do it, I just gave you a little insight, and then shoot, man, we're at a half hour already, but, the way I like to structure it is, like, for my patients, when they start their first phase of spinal correction, I like to try to get a prepay if I can. I like to try to get that, like, lump sum coming in. But then once they get to the, like, maintenance care, or what we call stabilization care and CBP, I like them to actually get on the monthly payments, because then they just get used to paying monthly for lifetime care. It becomes like part of, I hate to use the word budget because we don't want to think in terms of budgets, but it becomes part of their monthly budget, like part of their monthly, what they're paying, for, like, their mortgage, their chiropractic care, their Comcast, their cell phone. It just becomes part of what they pay every month, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And then business wise, money wise, on business end of it, it's like we always have that automatic payment coming in every single day.
That's cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah. This way, in case you have, like, if something ever happened and you had a lull in new patients, your financials aren't, like, really dipping down. At least you're still having money coming in on those monthlies.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool.
All right, man. Well, guess what? It's getting to the witching hour, and it's already half hour on our podcast. We had a few technical difficulties here, but we made it through, Colton.
We did.
And so I'm going to sign off for today, guys. And Colton and I will see you guys next week. And man, by next week, Colton, we'll be able to get a whole bird's eye view of what your whole first week of practice looked like.
That's exciting.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
I know. All right, everybody, have a blessed and fantastic week, and we will see you next week.
Peace.